Jerry Seinfeld was on stage in 2024 telling jokes to thousands of fans. But something felt off. His own kids don't laugh at his jokes anymore. They just look at him and ask, "Dad, is that a bit?" when he tries to be funny with them. Back in 2014, he went on national TV and told everyone something big. He told Brian Williams he thinks he might be on the autism spectrum. He said his brain just works a little differently. Now that he's 71, those signs are getting stronger. He loves his routines way too much, and he feels farther away from his family. What's happening to the king of comedy is pretty sad. Jerry Seinfeld was born on April 29, 1954, in Brooklyn, New York, to parents Calman and Betty Seinfeld. Both of them came from families that went through war, leaving home and old traditions. His dad, Calman, escaped Hungary after World War II and became a sign painter, but the coolest thing about him was his joke brain. He fought in the war and came home with a ton of funny one-liners he collected like souvenirs. At dinner, Calman would turn the table into his own little comedy show, throwing out old army jokes and funny everyday stuff that made everyone crack up. Jerry's mom, Betty, had Syrian Jewish roots. Her parents, Salem and Sila Hosni, moved from Aleppo, and when they got here in 1917 from Ottoman Syria, they got listed as Turkish. That mix of tough Hungarian survival and old Middle Eastern stories became the background Jerry grew up with. He was raised in Massapequa, Long Island, with his older sister Carolyn in a house where being funny wasn't just fun, it was how you got through life. His great-great-grandmother, Jeezy Dion, came from a rabbi family that went all the way back to King David, giving their normal suburban life a little legendary vibe. Jerry never forgot where he came from. It wasn't super dramatic, but it ran deep. His dad's little sign shop, Cal Sig, Ends, wasn't just a job. It was a quiet, creative playground. Jerry would sit there for hours drawing and making jokes about broken toasters or nosy neighbors. One sign he wrote by hand said, "Sping water, not kidding." Customers loved it. Some even wanted their own copy. Getting laughs from total strangers stuck with Jerry super early. It wasn't about big applause. It was about seeing something tiny and saying it perfectly. At home, his dad kept telling the kids to watch life closely, laugh at it, and maybe turn it into something. There was even a family inside joke that Cal Signs got mentioned years later on Seinfeld in the Fusilli Jerry episode, like a secret wink from his dad's old life. Massapequa wasn't famous for anything, really, but it gave Jerry everything. Dry jokes, little fights with his sister Carolyn, and the superpower of noticing stuff nobody else saw. From the time he was 8, Jerry was totally obsessed with comedy, the way other kids were crazy about baseball. He'd stay up late watching The Tonight Show and copy the moves and timing of comics like Buddy Hackett, who became his hero fast. His bedroom became his own private stage. He kept a real joke file with handwritten notes full of punchlines and setups that he practiced over and over. By age 10, he was already telling people he wanted to be a stand-up comedian. This wasn't just a kid dream. It was super serious, almost like science. He'd practice routines in the mirror, fixing pauses, making words sharper, and testing laughs on himself before trying them on real people. It wasn't adorable. It was hardcore training. High school just made him even more focused. At Massapequa High, he joined drama club but hated following scripts. He started sneaking in his own funny lines, even in serious plays. Teachers got annoyed. Kids loved it. In one school show, he added a joke about cafeteria food and the audience lost it on opening night. It wasn't planned. That's what made it magic. He kept rewriting real life with jokes. Even outside school, he started doing little shows at events and slowly became known as the guy who always makes you laugh. That label stuck. When he was 16, he spent a summer working on a kibbutz in Israel called Sa'ar. It wasn't fancy. It was hard work, but he got to hear tons of different accents, cultures, and funny misunderstandings. He never forgot a Russian couple arguing over a light bulb or a Greek family fighting about how to wash dishes. It was comedy gold, not because of the words, but how they said them. That became early material. He started thinking deeper about how people from different places crash into each other over the smallest things. Later, he turned those moments into bits about airports, restaurants, and family dinners. Back then, it was just pure curiosity. Family trips were usually to Jewish history spots, which made his roots stronger. but also showed the quiet competition with his sister. Carolyn got more attention, so Jerry did what he knew best, make jokes. He'd call himself the invisible son or the ghost of the Seinfeld family. Those weren't only jokes, they were his armor. He learned to take hurt, jealousy, or disappointment and turn it into something that made people smile. That habit of turning awkward feelings into everyday comedy became his whole style. Everything about him grew in that mix of being ignored but always watching, quiet but always thinking. In 1972, Jerry started college at SUNY Oswego because he liked the Lake campus, but feeling alone there bugged him. After 2 years, he moved to Queens College in 1974 to be closer to New York's comedy scene. Queens gave him theater classes, communications classes, and most important, open mic nights. He graduated in 1976 with degrees in communications and theater. But the real school was after class. He started sneaking into clubs like Catch a Rising Star, watching pros, taking notes, trying his own stuff. His very first real set in 1975 totally bombed. His airline food jokes died. But Jay Leno, an older comic, told him to keep coming back. He did. Every week he carried yellow legal pads full of jokes in big folders and tested them on friends and strangers. He made bits about dorm fridges, the clean one always got robbed, mismatched socks, people who knock but walk in anyway. Those jokes weren't loud or wild, they were small and super real. He learned that little everyday annoyances hit people hardest. His timing got perfect, his voice cleaner. By 1976, he wasn't just some guy trying comedy. People started watching him. When he graduated, his dad pushed him to get a real job. Jerry tried. He worked at a temp agency for 1 week and quit. He knew an office wasn't for him. He needed the microphone, the crowd, the danger, so he went all in on open mics, wrote more, stayed up later, bombed bigger, got up again. No plan B, that stubborn fire became his engine. It wasn't fame he wanted. It was getting the joke exactly right. In 1976, Jerry stepped into the crazy New York stand-up world with only 5 minutes of material and shaky knees. He hung out in smoky clubs like Catch a Rising Star that gave new comics a chance. His first paid gigs paid almost nothing, like $50, and some nights he slept on a friend's couch. He had no car, barely nice clothes, and his jokes were about weird roommate habits or awkward elevator silence. But he kept getting on stage, sometimes 2 clubs a night, even for 3 people. Every time he performed, his clean, super observed style got sharper. By 1977, club owners noticed how perfect his act was super tight. He wasn't just filling 5 minutes anymore. That's when Rodney Dangerfield asked him to do an HBO special. That one night changed his life. People outside New York learned his name. In 1980, right when things were going up, he tried out for a sitcom and got told he looked too ethnic. That hurt bad. But instead of chasing acting, he went harder on stand-up. He went back to the improv, made the stage his home. His jokes got even cleaner, about cereal boxes, airplane peanuts, why people double knot shoes. Saying no to changing himself for Hollywood kept him free. It let him become the purest Jerry. In January 1981, he did a set at the Improv about marriage proposals that killed. A guy buys a ring, proposes nervously. Friend says, "Nice ring, but it's not for me." 10 more TV spots came fast. Then in May 1981, he finally got on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. That night, Johnny laughed hard. The crowd went wild. America noticed. After that, he wasn't just a New York comic, he was big everywhere. In 1982, he started showing up on Late Night with David Letterman a lot, jokes tight, laughs huge, but he still lived poor, rent checks bouncing. One freezing night, he almost got kicked out and had to pawn his watch to pay rent. He said it almost broke him, but he didn't quit. Then 1987 came. He filmed a special called Stand Up Confidential for HBO. It aired September 5th, and one improvised line had people dying laughing. The buzz was huge. Producers saw he could do more than stand up. The special got him syndication money and opened bigger doors. That same year, he met Larry David at a comedy thing. They both loved tiny stuff nobody noticed. They talked forever about extra shirt buttons and how running into an ex feels like court. That chat turned into a TV show idea with no big stories, just little life moments. NBC didn't understand it. One note said the pilot was weak. and test audiences hated it. But one executive, Rick Ludwin, loved it so much he took money from a Bob Hope special and gave it to Jerry and Larry for 4 more episodes. On July 5, 1989, the Seinfeld Chronicles aired. It tanked. But they didn't give up. In 1990, they changed the name to Seinfeld. Jerry started using real stuff from his life. One day he went to a soup place where the owner yelled at customers for ordering wrong. That guy became the soup Nazi, and the episode became legendary. "No soup for you" went everywhere. The real owner, Al Yeganeh, got so mad he once kicked Jerry out of the store. But it worked because it was real life, just a little bigger. By 1991, Jerry wanted to write too, not just act. That was rare, but he fought for it and won. Scripts got changed at the last second. Episodes got weirder. NBC freaked out, but viewers loved it. Season 3 shot into the top 10. His touch was on everything. Elaine wasn't even in the first idea, but they needed her. Julia Louis-Dreyfus came in. She improvised a bit about gross airplane bathrooms at her audition. It wasn't written. She just did it and nailed Jerry's vibe perfectly. In 1992, the contest aired, a bet about who could go longest without, but they never said the real words. They used funny code words like "master of my domain." It became a huge catchphrase. The episode came from a real bet Larry David had with friends. First airing got 18.5 million viewers. Rerun got 20.1 million. It won an Emmy and got named Best TV Episode Ever by TV Guide. Only 31 people complained, even though it was risky. Jerry always wanted it real. Monk's Cafe was based on Tom's Restaurant at 2880 Broadway. They shot the outside in New York, but built the inside in LA. In 1993, a writer's strike almost killed the show. No new scripts. Jerry used his stand-up skills. They made stuff up on the spot. The show got looser and more real. The strike actually made it better. In February 1994, George pretended to be a marine biologist and saved a whale by pulling a golf ball from its blowhole. They wrote that ending the same day they filmed. Jason Alexander learned the big speech in 30 minutes. Jerry added the golf ball idea that morning. It became one of the most rewatched episodes ever. By 1998, Jerry was making $1 million per episode, highest paid actor on TV. Each episode cost up to $3.5 million to make. He earned $267 million that year, including reruns. But he still worked crazy hard, teaching writers, fixing every line. The finale aired May 14, 1998. 76 million people watched. The gang went to jail for not helping someone. Good Samaritan law. Critics hated it. Fans were split. Ads cost $1 million for 30 seconds. The hate was loud, but it didn't matter. The show had already changed television forever. After it ended, reruns made Jerry another $267 million that same year. Every rerun paid him about $1 million. He didn't make another sitcom. He just went back on tour. From 1998-2000, his live shows made over $100 million. Fans still showed up to hear him talk about cereal and new phone habits. In 1999, comic Bill Kirchenbauer, said Jerry stole a peanut joke. They settled quietly. After that, Jerry organized all 40,000 plus of his jokes on legal pads to protect himself. Then, in 2002, came the documentary Comedian about starting his act over from zero. It showed a nervous, doubting Jerry nobody expected. In 2007, he voiced the Bee in Bee Movie. It made $287 million. Pure Seinfeld jokes in cartoon form. Super weird, but it worked. It was crazy watching President Obama hop into a 1963 baby blue Corvette like it was normal. That's what happened in December 2015 when Jerry picked him up at the White House for comedians in cars getting coffee. They weren't allowed on real roads. Secret Service said no, so they just did slow laps on the grounds. 2 coffees, 2 huge names, total chill vibes. Obama joked kids year 08 thought he was like a cartoon. Jerry threw light punches about healthcare and football. Super relaxed, over 52 million people watched it. Everyone expected stiff talk, but got real hangout vibes and even a shout out to Between Two Ferns. 2 years later, Jerry, Before Seinfeld hit Netflix in 2017, he went back to the tiny club where he started in 1976, the comic strip. He brought his old 1970s yellow legal pads full of baby jokes. Left-handed jokes, Superman underwear jokes, super simple stuff that still killed. People were shocked he kept those pads for 40-plus years. It wasn't just a normal special, it felt like watching him visit his own beginning, knowing everything he'd become. Home movies, kid photos, raw old material, all unpolished but super emotional. Then Broadway. In 2019, he surprised everyone by jumping into the long-running musical The Book of Mormon. Wait, no, actually a different show, but same idea. As a guest, grabbing the mic and doing crowd work about crazy weddings. No script, pure improv. People went nuts. The show got extended because of him. When COVID hit in 2020, everything shut down, but Jerry did 23 hours to kill on Zoom from an empty Beacon Theater with canned laughs added. Tickets $25 made $20 million anyway. Jokes about dying phones and family driving each other crazy in lockdown. He even let fans pop on screen. Showed comedy could work with no crowd if the voice was strong. Then 2024 brought Unfrosted on Netflix, a totally fake story about who invented Pop-Tarts. Cereal companies fighting like gangs, sabotage, exploding toasters, pure silly fiction. 50 million watched in first week, turned a boring snack fact into a giant ridiculous movie. But real life wasn't always funny. In June 1993, 39-year-old Jerry met 17-year-old Shoshana Lonstein in Central Park. She was still in high school. They started dating. By 1994, they were on People magazine in love. It didn't cause huge anger back then, just curiosity. Jerry told Howard Stern he didn't realize how young she was at first. The 22-year age gap still gets talked about today. Then June 1998, Jerry met Jessica Sklar, now Seinfeld. She had been married only 3 weeks to Eric Nederlander. She met Jerry at a gym. 4 months later, her husband filed for divorce saying he was betrayed. Jessica and Jerry got engaged by 1999 and have been together 25-plus years with 3 kids, but that messy start still follows them. In November 2014, Jerry told Brian Williams he thinks he's probably on the autism spectrum, not officially diagnosed, just how he feels. He said he thinks very literally small talk confuses him. Some people loved him being open. Others said don't self-diagnose. Autism groups argued about it. But fans thought, yeah, that tracks with his routines, precision, everything. He never asked for a label, just said his brain is wired different. In 2017, Kesha tried to hug him on a red carpet. He stepped back 3 times. She looked embarrassed. He later said he just doesn't hug strangers. Clip blew up online. Some called him rude, others said he's just Jerry. He likes control unless he's the one making the mess. Since 2001, his foundation has quietly given millions to autism research and kids' causes. In 2020, he donated $5 million with no name on it. Some said it was image cleanup, others said it's just good. Money helped either way. His total net worth in 2025 is at least $950 million. Some say he's already a billionaire. Reruns still play daily. Syndication made over $4 billion total. He owns 15%. Netflix paid $500 million for streaming. Every airing puts more in his pocket. Tours and comedians in cars add tens of millions. His money comes from the same jokes playing forever. In 2024, he put out a book, Hall of Fame, with jokes he never told on stage, all from old yellow pads. Some about getting old, some about death, some ripping Hallmark cards or yada yada. They were still killer. Fans loved seeing the jokes that almost made it. Since 2022, he has been teaching young comics, showing how one 1976 Superman joke took 80 rewrites. He makes them edit every joke at least 3 times. He marks an X on his calendar every day. He writes at least one new joke. Most suck. The good ones survive. It's not magic, it's work. In 2023, he admitted his grown kids don't think he's funny anymore. When he tries jokes at home, they go, "Is that a bit?" He says real family moments are at 11 p.m. eating cereal together. He calls praise, pleasure, and problem-solving the 3 poison P's for kids. Kids need hard stuff, not perfect parents. He doesn't try to be dad of the year, just shows up. Now in 2025, he's getting ready for a huge 2026 world tour called Laughing Matters. 30 cities already sold out. He's going to talk socks, getting old, AI, and how nothing really changes. He says AI can't write a good sock jokes yet. He's probably right. The stage will be fancy with lights and surprise guests.